There it is.
This is bad news. My God. Falling out right now. Anything can happen. Get on! Wow.
I'll watch the video later. They climb up in this. Cariboo Weather Dude YouTube channel here, talking tonight about my favorite storm chases. There's been many favorite storm chases in my life, and there's been a lot of favorite storms where it just came to me and wild and ridiculous things happened. But this one in particular I'm going to show off today is an example from 2008. We used to go on tour with the band back in the day and make sure that we were in Alberta for Stampede Week. We were always always one of the house bands at the Palomino Smokehouse downtown Calgary. Then we'd take that opportunity to play gigs in Nanton and Bragg Creek and Lethbridge and all over the place in between our slots at the Palomino and whatnot. We found ourselves in Bragg Creek without a place to stay, and we were kind of like, where should we go camp for the night? And I was like, well, this is on the Sunday night of 2008 in July. I can give you the exact date on that, actually. Let's see. I think the 9th was the Wednesday, so the Tuesday was the 8th, and the 7th was, so the 6th, we were in Bragg Creek, and I said, hey, why don't we go camp inside Kananaskis? The storms will form out there, and they'll go off and do their own thing, and that's sure what happened. We sat there and watched the storms develop more or less on the mountain peaks around us and take off into the prairie when they got active in the nighttime, and one of those storms damaged like 5,000 acres or something like that of Hutterite crops in the region. So, you know, these storms were kicking off. So we found ourselves, going to go to Nanton. We had a gig in Nanton, Alberta there at the Auditorium Hotel. I lived in the Auditorium Hotel just the winter beforehand for 6 months, actually. I lived in Alberta that year and went back to Nanton. So there we were, decided to make our way down. And on the way through on the Tuesday, we ended up coming across a really severe storm there on the Cowboy Trail. And I'm getting to the point of the story here in a second. Bear with me, everybody. Hit like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. So we come across at Black Diamond this storm, and it's rotating and all hell's breaking loose, but we're busy driving, and I didn't get any footage of that whatsoever. And then by the time we got to Nanton, we seen that storm rolling off, and it laid a clear tornado down, and it's in the distance now out towards Vulcan, Alberta. And it's like, I don't have a camera that can shoot that, but hey, we seen a tornado today. Pretty cool. So the next day, I know it's going to happen. We go work for Lance Laree out in his farm, and we sit out there with the band, and we're working there out in his pea field or something like that. I was cutting off the tops of fence posts, I believe, with a chainsaw, but watching this one area all afternoon on the Rocky Mountains, watching the clouds bubbling up there, just hanging on, not even moving, just sitting there cooking on top of the Rocky Mountains, waiting for their chance to get big enough, strong enough to become an actual storm and move on off onto the prairie. So watching that area convection all afternoon, I just had a sense what was going to happen. So we went back into Nanton, dropped everybody off, and I grabbed cameras and whatnot and decided to head off by myself and park myself down somewhere. There's like a road that connects Nanton to over to Highway 22. I think it's the 33 or something like that. I kind of went down that way, then went a little bit north of the coulee and parked and started watching this area that I knew was starting to bubble. So I watched it. It's bubbling, and around 6:45 I could really see the definition starting to form. I could see the wall cloud really lowering down now. The storm was ready to move off the mountains, and now it had. You could see the Rockies in the distance there. And this storm started to churn and gurgle underneath and moan and groan. And I thought, well, I want to be closer yet to it. So what I did then, I waited there in this one spot for a little while longer, but I started to think about where I wanted to move to, and I figured, I want to get closer to it. I want to move up the road. I could hear it gurgling, and I could see the updraft and downdraft starting to simultaneously happen now. I could see the storm breathing in and out and trying to do things, and this area in the wall cloud, this lower basin behind, out west of Nanton, was starting to become more and more pronounced. At some point, I decided to move up closer to it. And when I did, I was getting about, I was starting to look like this more or less, right? Around 6:55. So I decided to move closer to the action. I was parked there up at the crossroads, and up comes this guy. They call him the FBI, the effing big Indian. He was this excessively large man. I don't mean like in girth. I mean he's like had a number of inches on top of me. Very, very tall man there that we'd always see at the Nanton Auditorium Hotel, and he'd recognize me. Hey, it's the singing chef, he says, and I said, hey, what's up, man? And he pulls over, and he's like been the passenger in this vehicle, and they've been pulling along this trailer from a roofing job or something like that, and he's in the passenger seat, and he's already had quite a bit to drink, and he gets out, and he's trying to talk at me. What are you doing here? And I said, well, look behind you. There's a tornado's trying to form right behind you. Oh, wow, you're crazy, and he starts looking at it for a minute, but then gets too busy talking because he's distracted, he gets busy talking, and as he does after a couple minutes, I'm like, hey, I don't want to interrupt you, but we have to move now. And sure enough, it was coming right over top of us, and it was starting to lower more and more. I wish I was taking pictures like crazy. I mean, back in the day here, I didn't use a camera much at all, really. I like to go out and watch storms and chase storms, but I didn't really see myself much as a photographer yet, and I had the wife at the time's camera, and I was going to go use it. And I should have realized, like, hey, I could just take 100 pictures of this, but in my modesty, I didn't. Instead, I only got so much. But up the road we went, we moved, so we went and parked, and then got to watch this thing start to lower down, start to spin and swirl up, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I kind of knew it wasn't going to hit the ground. It was kind of fizzling out, but it wanted to. It tried to for a minute. It made a good effort. You could see little vortices up at the top of this little funnel, trying to reach down. You can see it. In the back side of it here, you can see the spin and the rotation. You can see how it's trying to reach down, but it just doesn't have it in it. But still, for a minute, it looked pretty cool. It got down, it got low, and it was definitely an identifiable funnel sighting, and I was very proud of it because I kind of knew exactly all day where it was going to be. It was like I was sat there at Lance's Fields and watched this sort of area and kind of picked my spot, went back to Nanton, got what I needed to do, and more or less drove to the spot and parked and waited, and then it started to do what I wanted to see it do, and then eventually it did this. It formed itself its own little funnel cloud. It was unbelievably spectacular. So there it went. Finally, it started to lift off, and it lost its form. And you can see in this photo here, actually, the trailer from FBI's truck there, still parked there with us. And you can see where it kind of more or less broke up and went past us. And it was done for now. But still, I decided after you see that, you want to chase it. So off I went, following it back towards Nanton, then towards Vulcan, Alberta, a pattern I've taken a bunch of times in Nanton over the years. And coming in behind the nice sunny side, looking at all the beautiful fields, seeing the hail shaft in the distance. It wasn't very far away. I mean, it was like maybe a kilometer to that line of hail. I just tried to keep staying behind it with the van as best as I could. And the guys were all waiting for me. I believe we played in the hotel that night in Nanton, something to that effect, or maybe it was the next night we did. I don't know. I think that was maybe we stayed there for a couple nights for free. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you chase the storm. There I am about 500 meters behind it there, sitting in the nice, relatively high, enjoyable, sunny, while this hail and all hell is like a curtain right in front of us. And off to Vulcan I went, and the storm seemed to weaken off finally as it did, and, dumped some hail. That wasn't too significant, this stuff, but, it dumped some hail. The next day, this next storm ended up being pretty significant, actually. And it was sort of this thing where we're sitting in the Auditorium Hotel, and you kind of expect the same pattern that's been the last few days, like, well, around 5 o'clock or so, this will start to kick off. But no, it wasn't going to wait the next day, actually. It wasn't going to wait at all for anybody. And severe thunderstorm warning started going out on television there, Weather Network we ended up putting on, and started saying severe thunderstorm warning. I was like, warning, wait a second, this is maybe on us already. What's going on? I went outside in Nanton. It was starting to get dark, eerily dark, like very, very dark in Nanton. So we, I ran back in. I was like, I need someone to come with me. I yelled at Kenan, the drummer of our band, who I just saw down at Penticton. He plays in High Society. If you're watching that video, you'll see Kenan playing drums, kicking ass like he does. So Kenan's I believe I was driving and Kenan had the camera. And we come back out more or less the same direction I went the day before. And it's pretty dark. It was like black dark. And then when we sort of got into this sort of pocket where everything got kind of greenish, and then we looked out across the way and just seen this crazy looking wall cloud just trying to reach the ground. It was unbelievable what we were looking at. We couldn't believe it. I mean, that's an entire farm right behind it, and you can see it's just like this sort of dot in behind how big this wall cloud actually was. This thing was huge, and this supercell had a ferocious looking gnarl to it. It was making crazy noises, and all around, if you look in the distance, there's like hail and hell breaking loose in every direction all around it. It was like weird because the storm seemed to almost like, this seemed to in a way be, like the storm covered over town and made town dark, but there wasn't really any lightning in town yet, no rain, nothing was really happening. You can still see in this picture it's dry as we're coming into this, and it seemed to be like it was at the front of the storm almost, highly unusual, and very threatening looking situation, right? So we eventually parked ourselves all hell, like all, you can see the curtain in behind when it hit us eventually, not long after this actually, and all hell broke loose. It was just hail and rain and lightning, crazy lightning all over. And like, I remember I had to piss so bad, but I didn't want to get out and be the tallest thing on the prairie because lightning was striking near us, like flash, bang, like close strikes. So we tried to get into a better position, but this one too seemed to lose its structure fairly quickly, and it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be a tornado, but you can see strain, like this sort of cloud line in front of it. Like a sort of a horizontal almost vortice or something around it. Like, it was weird. It was doing weird things, and the hail it was knocking down was large. It was definitely bigger than marbles. Maybe not quite ping pongs or golf balls, but somewhere in between there, maybe close to loony size. Like, because I know when we came back to Nanton, there was all these vehicles parked at the Esso there that were on Highway 2, drove into the storm and had their windshields absolutely smashed. Then we had this dog that was taking cover under our vehicle. And when we went to drive, it like yelped, and we didn't know it was there, and they're like, whose dog is this? And so we, drove around for a minute, and the dog kind of like just indicated it was home to us, and we let it out, and it ran towards its house. So fine, but there was a lot of lightning out there, and it was pretty intense. So then we decided to chase it towards Vulcan like we did with the others. We came across some strange things just rolling out. This had a weird spinning that was just coming out of the cloud behind it as we chased down the road. And wow, what a storm. I'd not quite seen anything like that, before. Like, I'd been on the prairie a bit and seen some pretty wild prairie storms, and even have seen a number of tornadoes in the prairies since. But at the time, it was pretty fresh to me, and I was pretty proud that we ended up, having so much success. Anyways, on the Saturday after we were playing in Calgary and staying there, we played on the Friday night, and then we had a gig again on the Saturday, and we were taking cover there when the $450 million hailstorm went through Calgary, and it absolutely just savagely beat everything into oblivion. That is a tale for another time, though, my friends. Okay, hit like, share, subscribe, keep on coming by. I'm looking forward to storm season, trying to make this channel successful, trying to grow it, trying to get the revenue going in here so that I can afford to be a storm chaser and extraordinaire and weatherman for you right here in the Cariboo. Okay, everybody, talk to you next time. Bye now.